Have you ever found an old photograph, one from the 70s, tucked away in a dusty album? Look past the questionable fashion, the wide collars and the impossibly flared trousers. Look past the cars that seemed to be designed with a ruler. Look at the people, your parents, your grandparents, yourself. Notice anything? They're slim, not in the way we think of it today. Not gym fit or on a diet. It was a natural, effortless kind of slimness, a state of being, not a goal to be achieved. So what was their secret? It wasn't a magic pill or some long-forgotten diet plan. The truth is far simpler, and it's woven into the very fabric of a lost way of life. Stick around as we develop this forgotten photograph and reveal the real reasons Britain was a slimmer nation. The first part of the secret lies in what we ate, and more importantly, where it came from. Before the era of the cavernous, out-of-town supermarket, there was the great British High Street, a living, breathing ecosystem of experts. As one person commented online, with thousands of others agreeing, "I do miss the butcher, baker, greengrocer and fishmonger in every small town high street. You didn't just buy food, you had a conversation, you knew the person who sold you your sausages, and they knew you. And once you got that food home, there was only one option. You cooked it, from scratch, every single day. The pressure cooker was the sound of tea time approaching. There was no Deliveroo, no Uber Eats. A takeaway was a rare treat, a fish and chip supper wrapped in newspaper that made the whole house smell of vinegar. Dinner was whatever Mum put on the table. And you ate it, because as many of you will remember, the rule was simple and unspoken. If you don't like it, then there's nothing else. There was no pandering to fussy eaters, no short-order cooking. And the idea of constant snacking? It was a social crime. The ultimate appetite suppressant was your mother's voice, a weapon more powerful than any diet plan. Don't you dare spoil your dinner. A wagon wheel was a monumental treat. A curly-whirly felt like it was a foot long. Sugar was a reward, not a hidden ingredient in every single thing we eat today. Life simply wasn't saturated with the constant, mindless grazing that defines our modern world. The second pillar wasn't about working out. It was that life was a workout. Movement was woven into the fabric of the day. In the 1970s, the two-car family was the stuff of American sitcoms, not British reality. Dad took the Ford Cortina to work, if the family even had one, which meant Mum walked everywhere. She walked to the shops with a wicker basket. She walked to the school gates. She walked to her friend's house for a cup of tea and a gossip. Every errand burned calories, not petrol. And the kids? Well, childhood was a different beast altogether. It was feral, and it was free. You were kicked out of the house in the morning and told not to come back until the street lights came on. As one viewer perfectly put it, kids played outside, barely saw our parents. We were mucking about in the woods, building dens, playing epic games of Kirby that lasted for hours. We weren't exercising, we were having adventures. We were burning off the fish fingers and chips without a second thought. Even our technology demanded effort. There was no remote control. If you wanted to change one of the 3 channels, you had to get up and physically turn a knob on the telly. A phone call meant a brisk walk to a cold, damp telephone box, and the effort of physically dialing the number on a rotary phone. Life demanded movement. It was simply unavoidable. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, the mindset was completely different. The 1970s were still living in the long shadow of the Second World War. Our parents and grandparents remembered rationing. They had a deep, ingrained respect for food that we have completely lost. Waste was a cardinal sin. This led to another phrase that will give many of you flashbacks. Finish your plate. Think of the starving children in Biafra. You ate what you were given, and you were grateful for it. The make-do and mend culture wasn't just for clothes, it applied to food too. And the plates themselves told a story. They were smaller, the portions were smaller. As thousands of people have pointed out, what we see in these old photos isn't skinny. It was just normal. There was no culture of supersizing, of all you can eat. You had enough, and enough was a feast. There was also an absence of temptation. There was no Instagram feed filled with glistening burgers, no 24-hour cooking channels. Food was for mealtimes. It hadn't yet become entertainment. This lack of constant visual stimulation meant food occupied a different, more functional place in our minds. So, what changed? In a word, the 80s. It was a cultural earthquake. It started as a trickle and then became a flood. American fast food culture arrived, bringing with it a new world of convenience and a seductive new concept, the supersized portion. The weekly shop moved from the high street to giant, out-of-town supermarkets. Their aisles a labyrinth of processed foods, packed with sugar and salt we couldn't even pronounce. Technology made our lives easier, but it also made us sedentary. The VCR meant staying in, not going out. The microwave meant instant meals, not home cooking. We started driving more and walking less. Slowly, almost without us noticing, the built-in workout of everyday life was dismantled. Real food was replaced by convenient food. Patience was replaced by indulgence. The secret to why Britons were so slim in the 1970s is that there was no secret. It was simply a byproduct of a society that ate real food, moved naturally, and understood the meaning of the word enough. We didn't need to get fit, because life itself kept us that way. And perhaps, in our relentless search for an easier life, we lost a balance that was healthier for all of us. But what do you think? What do you miss most about those days? Would you trade the convenience of today for the balance we had back then? Let us know your memories in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, please consider subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell. There are many more journeys to take and many more stories to tell.